What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 10K on the Bay, my journey to 10,000 live listings on eBay. Thanks for joining me. This is going to be probably my most favorite show ever, which I'm just going over how much you can actually make on eBay. I've heard a lot of inflated numbers and people don't really know what they're talking about. So I think that I can do a really good job of explaining how much money you can actually make on eBay. Well, at least I'm going to give it a shot. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and give you guys an idea of what you can do. So let me go ahead and share. All right, I think you guys are able to see my screen. Let me just make sure everyone's in the chat. What's going on, everybody? Glad you can be in the chat. Okay, so I'm just going to go over real quick this launch pad that I'm building. So there's been a lot of questions, probably over 5,000 questions since I started. So I just want to put it all into one launch pad to make it easy for everybody to find. So I'm going to have a how-to series, how to set up an email, eBay account, PayPal account, how to set up an S Corp, how to set up an LLC, how to do it, sole proprietorship, all those different ways of doing it. All the different questions that people have, I'm going to make a specific video on it. To get access to this launchpad, you need to be in my Patreon group. But to be honest, all this information is on YouTube for free. I'm literally just going to link it to one of my videos. So this is just if you want to support me, but not required. All this information will be on YouTube, except for the Mastermind Goals document, which I'm going to go over in just a second. But if you guys have questions on exactly how all this is working, like you have a specific question, I will always refer you to the Launchpad to give you guys an idea of where to find all that information in an organized manner. And also, there's going to be a specific series on how to hire an employee, a series on listing, a series on productivity. There's going to be a reseller spotlight series going over different people who are doing a good job, all the equipment, and then also live topics where my Patreon members can actually join in and talk with me, which should be very cool. But now let's get into the nuts and bolts, which is actually going to be my favorite part of this chat, which is, I'm going to pull up this thing right now. I've blacked out everybody's information except for my own, just to give you guys an idea of how I'm actually going to determine how much money you can make on eBay. Let me just check the sound real quick. What's going on, guys? Sweet. Okay. I'm going to hop back in here and give you guys an idea of how I think you can actually determine how much money you make. So these are the 100 people that are in my mastermind group. It's about 65% full. So I have 35% left of the people who are in this group with me, where I help you build whatever income that you're looking for. So specifically, the goal for most people is to generate $1,000 per week. And this is my first store, which is this row number 4, which is $4,333 a month net. So for my particular model, because of where I live, I can find items that have a 50% net profit. Meaning, just to really simplify that, I want to make 43.33. That means I only need to do 86.66, or twice that amount per month, to net 50% in my area. Now it depends. Depending on where you are, your sell-through rate, you might be finding stuff that's slower, that doesn't sell as quick, and you might find stuff that has a higher or a lower net profit. I live in California, where basically every single kind of sourcing is available. Garage sales, estate sales. There's 200 thrift stores in my area, although I can't thrift anymore because just recently all my Goodwills raised their prices $3, which prices me out of the reselling completely. So I won't be shopping Goodwill retail pretty much anymore because it's a waste of my time and it doesn't fit my specific model. But depending on where you live, I know there are other people like Luke, who lives in North Carolina, endless entrepreneur, shout out to him, where he has flat rate on all of his stuff. And that's kind of like an amazing concept that doesn't exist for me. But again, your model is going to depend on what you can find in your area, and what you can find determines sort of your sell-through rate, your net, and then your net profit is sort of something you decide to stick with a specific amount. And then here is a shipping percentage. So what percentage of your sale is shipping? Now I'm selling a lot of cheap stuff, and so my shipping cost is literally 25%. But if you have a higher ASP, like some of the people in my document who have a sold price of over $100, And if you're shipping all first class items and your sold price is over 100, then your shipping percentage is, sub 10%, which makes a huge difference when you're looking at total net profit, which is the goal here, guys. We're looking for total net profit, not any other BS. We're not talking about revenue. We're talking about actual pre-tax money that you would report to the IRS. Okay, so here's something where you guys can actually click and find out where your current situation is. So here I've included the link to a page in your eBay store. I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. This goes to my low-key Husky store. So to give you guys an idea of what's in this store right now, this link is in the document for people to use. But if I click here, it shows that I have $13,835 listed for sale and 517 items. Now, if I go back into my document, I entered in 13,835, and it gives me, and 517, and it gives me an average sale price of $27 in my store. Now, that gives me an estimated profit of $2,075 with what I have right now in my store. So this will give you an idea of how close you are to your actual goal. So on this, the first store is the Low Key Husky store. I want to make $43.33. I'm only at $2,000. So what I basically need to do here is double the amount of stuff that I have listed. So I could go back here. I could increase the average sale price to double, which is $54, right? And keep the same amount of items, and I could expect the same amount of profit with the sell-through rate I have right now. The sell-through rate on this store is above 1/3 per month, so I'm actually outpacing this 30% sell-through because this is 30%, but my sell-through rate is more like 40% in this particular store. So I'm doing better than I'd like, but again, I'm only expecting a 30% sell-through rate here. So this will give you a good barometer for how close you are to your goal. So I know for this particular store, I'm like 50% of the way to my goal. In my bigger store, you guys can see my average selling price is way lower because I have 2,000 items listed and it's only at $31,387 listed with an average selling price of 16, right? So kind of extremely low in that store, but again, I'm being completely transparent except for my third store, which is wholesale only, which I don't share at all. So my two stores, you guys can look them up. In the big store, the average selling price is $16. In the small store, it's $27. And you guys know I'm hand picking the items in this store. So the average sale price on the sold items is $43, but $27 includes a bunch of the items I just found around the house. So those items haven't all sold yet. That's why the ASP is lower, but this is more like $40. So that's the current situation, guys. This link, I actually did not know this page exists in eBay, where it just shows you literally how many you have listed and the fixed price. I will be making tools for you guys to use this custom label field, you guys can see right here, to track your cost. So that way we'll be able to know, okay, these 516 items cost me $3,000, and the $3,000 that I invested is supposed to make me $13,820 before fees. Now, I can't believe this doesn't exist in eBay so that you can enter in the cost when you're actually listing. They don't have that capability right now, which is super annoying, but eventually they will have the ability to enter in the cost. But for now, we're gonna build it into the custom label with the location. And so like, for example, right here, I've already started doing it where I've done A53, 1650. So I paid $16.50 for this item, right? And this is actually high because I used a gift card to purchase this, but this is the retail, $16.50 for this item. I'm gonna show you guys how to build this in so we can download it and give ourselves an idea of what we have invested for this $13,820. And I think that'll give you a complete picture of what's going on. How much do you have listed? How much did you actually spend? What's your average sale price? And also on this page, you can see how many of your items have questions and how many have watchers. So there's a person in my group that over 95% of their items have watchers. So that means they're sourcing really high quality stuff. Now for this store, 144, I think it's really low because there's a lot of clothing in here, because I was telling you guys, I started with 200 bucks and I had to sell a bunch of stuff I got from my friends and family and around the house, which essentially is not gonna have the greatest interest versus me going out and hand picking items that I know are hot in the market right now. Great barometer. I can't believe I didn't know about this screen, but it's in your listings page. It's a summary. So if you guys want to log into your eBay, check this out. It's free. The only thing that's missing from this to give me a complete picture is literally how much I paid for the items. But this is an awesome dashboard. Cool. So going back into this document, you guys can see there are people who are joining this. All the people in my mastermind group that are $10 or over will have access to this, but it's read only. You have to be in the mastermind group of 100 to edit this, to give you guys a good idea. So when I'm going in with people, I'm helping them decide, okay, where are you at, your current situation? Click on this and tell me where you're at. Where do you want to go? And then here's the fantastic part. What do you need to do to actually get there? So right now in this area, I'm going to actually track how much I spend each week. So I'll be able to track how much I spend, how many items I list, and then the projected profit on those items. So my goal for the big store is to list, actually I gotta change this up real quick. My goal for Low-Key Husky is actually to list $500 worth of profit every week. And the goal for the bigger stores to list 3,000 per week as I'm growing. So to determine how you do this, you need to figure how many items you can actually list per week. So for me, I can list 350 items. I'm listing about 12 hours. I'm 12 items per hour. So that's around 30 or so hours straight up just listing. Now, I have enough time during the week to do all that myself. I could hire somebody, and you guys know I am building that employee series for you guys so that you can hire somebody to do the photography and the listing for you on InkFrog. Like back here, there's going to be documentation on how to do that. You know, setting up Dropbox, setting up InkFrog, and different tools to help you list quickly. But as far as your capacity, you need to look at how many listings you can do per hour, right, to start with, and then divide that by how much time you have, and it'll give you an idea of what's realistic on how many items you can list. So my profit goal is $10 per item. Now, it depends on what you're trying to do. In my group, there are people with 50, there are people with $100 profit minimum. It just depends on your time, what you're selling, what's around you. Not everyone has access to $100 per item things. I would rather spend my time listing than hunting. So for the most part, the $10 items that I am buying, I can get without sourcing. So that's the name of the game, guys. The secret to eBay is sourcing. If you can find a way to get inventory without going out to get it, then you can just focus on your processes and make it work. So I've spent $260 so far on inventory this week, all yesterday. And the $260 that I spent was around $3,000 in profit. So I got an amazing amount of home runs yesterday. All I need to do now is just list all these items. So I've only listed 10 of the 260 items. I paid $1 each yesterday, and so the projected profit is really only $100, and I listed it in the Low-Key store. So that's where that is. And then you guys will see I'm going to list 300 new ones in my other store, and that should have a projected profit of 3,000 here. Again, this totally depends on what's around you, what your per item profit goal is, and then how much capital you have. So I'm trying to spend, let's see, $3,000 in my Low-Key Husky store to make $28,000 profit each month. I'm sorry, revenue per month. So that's literally like almost 10 times, right? So I'm buying something for $3 and selling it for 28. That's the model that I'm looking for that particular item. Now, the thing is, I can't really scale that. There is a cap. I can't buy more than, I would say, more than around 5,000 items per month that fit this criteria. I'm capped in the area where I'm at, so I can't go above that. But I like this model because right now I can afford to do this. I only need $31,000 in cost to do $288,000 a month in revenue to net this 43,333 number, which is 500. I'm sorry, which is 520,000 a year, which is my profit goal for my bigger store. So my girlfriend challenged me to think of a way to do it without borrowing money. So the only way for me to not borrow money is to only buy items that I make 10 times revenue. So buy for 3 and sell for 28. If it doesn't fit that model, right now I'm passing for the most part because I need a certain amount of profit to reach this goal with a limited amount of inventory. Now, most people, like for example, Ryan Roots, his channel is Rally Roots. If you guys look at their channel, their net profit goal is actually 30%. So if I were to change this to 30%, I'm going to need a lot more inventory to reach my goal. You know, this is a little bit more realistic. You're buying something for $15 and selling it for 48, which is around 3 times your cost. So if you're spending 10, selling for 30, and netting 10, that's much easier. It's much easier to source items with a lower cost. But again, now you're looking at more capital required to reach your goal. So it really depends. How much money do you have? The quality of your items determines the sell-through rate. You guys know Prince is in my group, and Prince has 100% sell-through rate per month, meaning all of his items sell per month. So if I were to change it to 100% sell-through rate, and Prince is doing around 36% net. So you guys can see to do the goal here, there's a, wow, that's incredible. Actually, his shipping cost is not that high, but you can mess with the numbers if you have the access to the spreadsheet, and it'll give you an idea. Look how much lower the cost requirement is in order to get the profit that he's looking for, just because he's selling 100% of his items every month. So I'm looking at 30%, which is lower than 1/3, so lower than 1% a day. And on a net profit goal, I'm going much higher. And you guys, as you can expect, with a 25% shipping rate, getting a lot of stuff for really, really cheap. So that's my model. You guys can adjust it. Again, this is only limited to the 100-person mastermind group that I'm in that's mostly full. However, I'm going to hop on, stop screen sharing for just a second.